Welcome to the Research Like a Pro with DNA question and answer series. In today's video, Diana Elder AG is talking about how to link your MyHeritage tree to your FamilyTreeDNA account. In July of 2024, FamilyTreeDNA announced that their family trees will be going away and you can link your current tree on FamilyTreeDNA to MyHeritage or transfer it so that it will be there in a free account at MyHeritage. You can have an unlimited number of trees at MyHeritage in the free account, but they can only have 250 people, as Diana will discuss. So in this video, she shows a step-by-step tutorial for how to do the transfer and get this all set before the trees at FamilyTreeDNA go away. All right, enjoy this video.
So this month, our basic theme was on research planning, selecting DNA tools and methodology. And because we have a really new thing that just came out, which is FamilyTreeDNA and their family trees switching to MyHeritage, I thought it would be really good to go through that because we, of course, teach that you should have your DNA on all the different testing websites, and FamilyTreeDNA is one of those. It's also an important one because it gives us chromosome browser information, and it has some special tools there that we don't get elsewhere. And so we do want to have our DNA there, and we also want to have a tree there. So that's why I decided this would be a good topic to go through today for our little bit of training. And this was new to me. I hadn't had a chance to do it. So today I just took screenshots as I was putting this together so that you can actually see what happens when you go to do this. So first of all, this came out just very recently that FamilyTreeDNA has partnered with MyHeritage, and FamilyTreeDNA is retiring its current tree builder on September 9th, 2024. So if you have your tree there already and you haven't taken the step to connect to MyHeritage, your tree will just become read-only. That means you won't be able to add anything. It'll just be how it is on that date. So you'll want to go ahead and connect your FamilyTreeDNA account with an existing MyHeritage account. Or if you've never had MyHeritage, you can create a free MyHeritage account. Now just know this doesn't mean that you get access to all of their great stuff. It means you just get to have a free MyHeritage account where you can have a tree. And it's not a very big tree, but it is a tree. And then each FamilyTreeDNA kit can only be linked to one MyHeritage account and tree, but you can connect multiple kits to either the same tree or different trees on the same MyHeritage account. So like many of you, I have got people who have taken Y-DNA, mitochondrial DNA, autosomal DNA, and their accounts that I manage are on FamilyTreeDNA. And so I'll need to do this, and so will you with all your different kits. And so you can just, have it be connected to the same tree or different trees on the same account. So just know this, MyHeritage accounts are free to create. And once you transfer a tree to MyHeritage, you get your unlimited tree. So if it's a large tree, you can have it for free for 3 months. But if you're using an existing tree or you're creating a new tree, you can only have 250 individuals unless you purchase a subscription. And they do have various types of subscriptions. So you can look at that if you are new to MyHeritage and decide what you want to do about that. So a lot of us have pretty bare bone trees on FamilyTreeDNA, or you may have uploaded a complete GEDCOM and have a pretty full tree on FamilyTreeDNA. So, we have all sorts of different ways we are using trees there. But here are some considerations as you're thinking about this. The DNA results and matches are not mixed. So just because you're going to have a tree on MyHeritage does not mean it will pick up any DNA matches from over there and vice versa. You're not going to get any FamilyTreeDNA matches on MyHeritage. So it's just the tree hosting the connection, nothing to do with the DNA, only the trees. So again, I'll probably say this a few times, your FamilyTreeDNA will be hosted by MyHeritage. Or if you already have a MyHeritage tree, you could use that one. And this scenario could be perhaps if you've just never gotten around to adding a tree to FamilyTreeDNA, but you have a nice tree or even a small tree over on MyHeritage, then you could connect to that. We'll all have different circumstances. All right, so here's some benefits. Now, if you already have linked matches for your autosomal DNA, Y-DNA, and mitochondrial DNA tests on FamilyTreeDNA, they will automatically be relinked at MyHeritage. So I should put that in quotes because I think that we always want to make sure we're checking the work. So I will show you a couple slides of what you might want to do with this idea. If you spend a ton of time linking matches, you'd want to worry about this. I've only linked a few, so it's not such a big deal. And after you're transferring your tree, you could link new matches at FamilyTreeDNA to your tree on MyHeritage. And so supposedly it's much easier. Like I say, I just started working with this. I haven't done a lot, but this would be nice if it actually was much easier because that's one of the great things we love is being able to have a match and linking them straight to our tree so we can quickly see where they fit. And then MyHeritage offers more features for family trees than FamilyTreeDNA does. We've long lamented the fact that FamilyTreeDNA trees were not that great. And so this is going to give us a much better tree and maybe it'll make us, a lot more efficient with our FamilyTreeDNA matches. So how do you do this? Well, I think it will happen differently for different people. You might have gotten a message right when you logged into FamilyTreeDNA that you could go ahead and transfer your tree. Or if you ignored that, you might have to go in, like I did, and go to your account settings and choose genealogy and then family tree, and then it will tell you connect right there. So if you ignored it, maybe you won't get that pop-up, or maybe you will. I'm not sure. But you can always find it through your account, genealogy, family tree, and then it will say right here, connect your account. And if you're, wanting to know more, it does give you a little bit of, some advertising there, tell you what's going to happen with that. And then the very next screen you'll get is transfer your family tree to MyHeritage for free. And then you click on the Get Started Now. And then you get this page which says you're connecting with MyHeritage. And this is for kit number. So I was logged into my specific kit. I also have, as I said, other kits that I manage. So I would have to log into each one separately and then go through this process for each one. But right now I'm just in mine. And so you are going to give approval to MyHeritage to get your name or the testers, whoever kit it belongs to, date of birth, email, a number of individuals, and your GEDCOM file with photos and notes. So just read the small print, make sure you're okay with everything, and then if you click approve, then you will get to the next screen and it will ask you to log in to MyHeritage to link your account. And this would be if you already have an account there, which I did. But if you are not yet a member, then you would click down here and you would sign up for free. Once you put this in, you do get a code sent to your email. It's the two-step verification. So then you'll be able to make sure that nobody's messing with your account. It's really you, and that will go forward. Now, one of the things that I don't know and I haven't tested, and so we'll have to maybe share this in the Facebook group, is if we are using one of our kits that we manage, perhaps the email address wasn't ours. We used their email address, so they would get the two-step verification. And so, oh, this is for MyHeritage. Just kidding. Take that back. So for your kit numbers, it won't matter. For MyHeritage, it'll just be your account. So you'll get that. You'll get that code for sure. We have too many codes, don't we? Too many accounts and codes and passwords. So the next thing you're going to do, and this is the big deal, this is where you have to choose the family tree to link to in the FamilyTreeDNA account. So this is MyHeritage. These are all the different trees I have on MyHeritage. And so I have a lot of options that I get to choose from. You can see that I have a pretty robust tree on FamilyTreeDNA, and that's because I just uploaded a GEDCOM. There's just my basic GEDCOM with both lines of my family, and I popped it all into FamilyTreeDNA one day. You'll see that I also have others. I have for my husband's line, he's half Hollingsworth and half Elder, and so we've got GEDCOMs for both of those. We have got his dad, and so his tree is connected. his DNA is connected to that tree, and his mom is connected to this tree. My mom is connected to this tree. And so I have a lot of different trees on here. And then I have a cousin who's connected on my Schultz line to this tree. So I could connect to any of those, but these, of course, are not all complete trees for me. They are all portions and then portions of my husband's tree. I could start a brand new tree, but that doesn't sound very fun. So I opted to just take my family tree from Family Tree DNA and use that one. And I transfer this family tree to MyHeritage. So I am using a tree that I actually have some links from, linked matches to. And so I've kind of, or anonymized these here. One of the things that Roberta Estes recommends, and she is an expert on family tree DNA. I always look to her when learning about family tree DNA, and I'll give you a link to her blog at the end of this section because you'll want to just follow her steps. She's so good, and she highly recommends you make a list of your linked matches so you can make sure they automatically are relinked correctly. So to do that, you just go to your tree, you go to link matches, and then it will show your matches. And if they have this little link by them, you can write it down or just make sure you know how many you've got and which ones they are. I think I only had about 10, so it wasn't a really big deal for me to note those. And then another thought that Roberta had was if you're going to link to a MyHeritage tree, you want to make sure names are spelled exactly the same. So in other words, maybe you've been using different spellings. I mean, hopefully we have pretty specific ways we spell our last names or our surnames, but sometimes we may use a different spelling on a different tree. So you just want to make sure things are the same. And having this ability to transfer your linked matches is a good reason to choose your family tree DNA tree rather than choosing a MyHeritage tree that you already have existing. Again, it's just going to depend on how you've used your trees, what you're going to do with this decision. So I did choose to use mine. And over here on MyHeritage, before I did anything, I went to MyHeritage and checked my trees because I couldn't remember exactly what these trees were. And so you can log into Family Tree and manage your trees, and then you can see how many people, when you created them. You can just get an idea of what these trees entail before you decide what you're going to do. So right now I've got this as my default tree. I could change that if I wanted. So some recommendations from Roberta: transfer an existing tree or start a new one if you don't have one. And she says that's the only way your tree information can benefit your results at FamilyTreeDNA. Consent to have MyHeritage share any updated tree information with FamilyTreeDNA, allowing FamilyTreeDNA to improve products and services such as MyOrigins. Okay, this was confusing to me at first, but I don't know if we all realize that when we have tree information in FamilyTreeDNA, and we also have our DNA there, they can use that as their updating their things like MyOrigins, anything that's locality specific, because they're going to use your tree localities. So if you want to continue to help FamilyTreeDNA get better, you would want to check the box and say, yes, it's okay. So if you're just transferring your tree, the box is automatically checked. But if you are starting a new tree, you'll have to check the consent form, and just it's kind of small at the bottom. This doesn't directly affect you at all. It's just if you want to benefit FamilyTreeDNA from using your tree to make it better for everyone. So she highly recommends doing that. And if you're linking to an existing tree at MyHeritage, as of yet, she says there's no consent. So you won't be able to use, or FamilyTreeDNA won't be able to use your tree information to improve FamilyTreeDNA. So that's why she recommends that you either use your existing tree or start a new one so that the information that you enter in your tree can go back and help out FamilyTreeDNA with their MyOrigins locality specific information. All right, so then when you say, okay, you click the button, yes, go for it, then you get this email that says your family tree is being transferred to MyHeritage. And I had a pretty big tree. You saw it was, gosh, was it 8,000, something like that, 5,000, 8,000, a few thousand. And it took about 30 minutes for me to get the email. I was curious to see how long it would take. I kind of kept checking my email, kept checking, and finally it came in. And oh, there it is. 8,244 individuals were imported and 10,057 matches. And when I clicked on View Tree, then I got my tree over here in MyHeritage. So here's the tip. When it comes in, it'll have the name of your tree at the top. This is not what it came in as. I'll show you that in a minute. So I went in and changed it, and I wanted to make sure I knew it was my family tree DNA tree because you saw I had a few different trees. So you just go to Family Trees up here at the top and manage family trees and edit tree settings. Then the name you'll get will be a bunch of gobbledygook. I'll show it to you in a minute. And then you can go name it. So I would recommend that you do use FamilyTreeDNA. And then if you want to have a surname in there or whatever, you can. So you can see that now my FamilyTreeDNA tree that's associated with Family Tree DNA looks really beautiful. And it was fun because in this view on MyHeritage, I could do a nice fan chart. I could do this view. I had 2 or 3 different views, and it's just so much easier and better to work with your tree through MyHeritage than the old Family Tree DNA trees. And so you get this message that this was another email that you've successfully connected your Family Tree DNA account with MyHeritage. Oh, excuse me, this isn't an email. This is just a notification on Family Tree DNA. Once it's done, it'll tell you. It'll say you're done. You did it. So here is what my tree name was originally. And so it wasn't actually a bunch of gobbledygook. It was just kind of unwieldy and long. And so I changed, the name of that tree from whatever all this is. So if you mess up and you go through all this and you're like, oh, shoot, I did it the wrong tree. I didn't do something right. You can just very easily disconnect that tree and you can start over again and choose the correct tree. And this might be if you have a Y-DNA test taker and you accidentally connect him to the wrong tree, then you'd have to go disconnect. So it's going to be a little bit of a big deal to get everything transferred over because we all have multiple kits likely. So here are my suggestions, and I'll give you this link in the next slide. Read her blog post carefully and follow her steps. She has screenshots, she has explanations. She is really a great resource for Family Tree DNA. And then do the tree transfer steps for every kit you manage. And I would suggest that you have this in a spreadsheet or a notebook or something where you're tracking your progress because you may not be able to get it done all in 1 hour or 2, depending on how many kits you have. And if you have multiple kits, you probably already have an Airtable base or a spreadsheet or something going, so you keep track of all your kit numbers. So you can just track your progress there really easily. And then here is Roberta's blog post that came out pretty recently. Let's look at the date. Yeah, July 20th. So that's only been out a couple of weeks. So this would be my best recommendation, just to go to the blog post and read that and then read the comments because a lot of people have been commenting and asking questions, and she'll go try to find the answer because as with anything, there are a lot of questions, issues, problems, things that people are worried about. And so, that's probably the most up to date there in the comments, how to do this. Okay, let's do some questions. I'm sure everybody's got some questions about this.
Yeah, there are a few questions in the chat, and I've been trying to answer them, but I'm going to ask you them too.
Okay.
So, what if you already have a tree on MyHeritage? Is there something I have to do on Family Tree DNA? And that was asked before you did your tutorial, so I
Okay.
think we know now.
Yes, you do. You have to do something. You have to do the transfer.
Okay, and then, but if you already have a tree on MyHeritage, you don't have to transfer it, right? You can just link yourself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But Roberta said there was an advantage to transferring, right?
Yeah. Well, the advantage is to Family Tree DNA because then they get to use your locality-based information for upgrading or making their site better. So it's not really it's not really any kind of a benefit to you. So if you already have a really great tree on MyHeritage, but nothing on Family Tree DNA, I would just link to that rather than start over
Mhm.
again.
Right. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay. So here's a question that I have personally that I just want to clarify.
Okay.
So when you have all these matches in Family Tree DNA that you've linked in your tree to take advantage of the phased family matching
Mhm.
algorithm at Family Tree DNA, when you transfer your tree, are those automatically preserved or do you have
Yes.
to relink them all?
No, they are supposed to be automatically preserved, but Roberta recommends, and I would second it just to make, just to note how many you have. Maybe just go through quickly and count how many you have just to make sure they are correctly linked. So I haven't been able to really verify mine yet to see, so I'm not sure how good that is. But yes, if you transfer your family tree from Family Tree DNA, or you have that one be the one connected to MyHeritage, it will bring in your links.
So that would be
Absolutely.
a big advantage then. So if
Yes.
you've had a tree in Family Tree DNA, you've linked the matches to your tree, then you'll
Mm-hmm.
definitely want to do the transfer
Yep.
instead of just linking
To an existing MyHeritage tree.
your kit to the,
Right.
yeah, okay.
Right. At first, I was thinking I would just link to a MyHeritage tree, but when I looked at my trees, I realized MyHeritage trees were all separated. They weren't even my complete GEDCOM. They were separated out into different family lines.
Oh,
And so my family tree DNA was actually more complete. So I just put that over there. So that was kind of cool.
great. Okay, let's do some more of these questions. If I have trees on both my heritage and family tree, do I want to link my family tree? Is it important to do the linking on family tree before it goes away? And I think we just answered that. So
Yes,
we
I think
do,
it
it sounds
is.
like we do need to do something before the trees go away, right?
Yeah, your tree will still be there, but it will be read only if you don't do anything. And so that might be a good question that was answered in the blog.
Mhm.
Like, it's not going to go away. And I'm guessing you can still transfer after the 9th. I'm sure they're not going to just cut off that transferring after the 9th of September.
But that's when they will become read only.
So you couldn't add anything to it, couldn't fix anything up on it. So I would just recommend to get it done by that date. And maybe they'll continue, giving us more information. That's just what we know right now.
Well, Roberta did say in her post that it will be easier to link matches with the MyHeritage tree. So that's
Hmm.
good. I mean, it's
It's
great. Like you
really
said,
good
it's a nicer tree interface, and Family Tree DNA's tree interface has always been difficult to use and clunky.
and slow.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is going to be good.
Here's
It's kind of
another
a pain, but
question.
it's good.
I've been planning to open an account at Family Tree DNA, but already have one on MyHeritage. Is it a moot point now?
Well, no, you absolutely want to have your DNA on Family Tree DNA because your DNA does not go with your tree on MyHeritage. The DNA is kept completely separate. So you'll want to still have your DNA on Family Tree DNA. And then if you have a tree already built on MyHeritage, you could just link to that tree, which will be great.
That's right.
Yeah, the DNA does not cross over. No crossover whatsoever with the DNA.
And the last question is, will transferring my Family Tree DNA tree replace my heritage tree, or can I have two trees on my heritage?
You can have as many trees as you want on MyHeritage. Okay, now I say that because I do have a paid account on MyHeritage, and so I can. So if I had a free account, I don't know about that. I know that the limit for the free was 250 people, and I don't know if there is a limit of how many trees you can have. However, I'm sure you can have more because if you had a Y-DNA test taker and a mitochondrial, you're linking all those to trees, you would need different trees. So I would think. So that's a good question that I don't completely know how to answer.
I put a link to the family or to the MyHeritage article about what you can do with the free plan into the chat.
Thank
So
you.
it
Thank
sounds
you.
like you can have multiple trees there.
I would hope so. Yeah. It just makes sense because they know that people have multiple kits and that not everybody wants to pay for yet another subscription-based database. So that would make sense. But your trees won't be able to be that large if you're on the free plan. But really for DNA, you want just your basic skeleton tree at least, and then you could do descendancy. You could build your tree down as you need to connect matches. So yeah, you'll just have to work with it. But I think it'll be good. I'm excited
Yeah.
about it.
Yeah, if you're just doing your direct ancestors out to the eighth generation, that's 128 people. So you should
Mm-hmm.
be able to do
Yeah,
at least the direct ancestors.
right.